Wheaton Park District Board of Commissioners, board meeting, March 17, 2021. Meeting is called to order. Take the roll. Commissioner Vyers.
Here.
Commissioner Morrill.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Commissioner Hodgkinson.
Here.
Commissioner Fry.
Here.
Commissioner Fahey.
Here.
President Me.
Here. Mike, I believe we have a presentation tonight.
Yes, we do. With us this evening is Sandy Gabor, the Executive Director of the Western DuPage Special Recreation Association.
Hi,
for an
Sandy.
update.
Well,
Nice to
hi,
see you.
everybody. Thank you so
Hi,
much
Sandy.
for, I didn't get to come last year, so the packet in front of you is last year, and I'm just going to talk very briefly about what you would have seen, and then move on to the next year. Well, I hope you are all staying safe and sound and getting through this world pandemic. To summarize what is there in front of you is I wanted to share our updated logo and colors, which we think is welcoming and representative of the cutting-edge services that we provide. Seems like that logo's been around for a while. So WDSRA continues to be about community, collaboration, and providing opportunities for a full life. We spent the year updating all materials and now are working on our vehicles. And the bottom line, no matter what vehicle wrap we created, one finally was selected. Our buses are just ugly. It just is what it is. They're white school buses. They're just not those senior, nice, streamlined buses. So you got a lot of things to work around. So I think they look more fun than elegant and classy, but we're getting there. And we've got some great colors and not a lot of rust. So that's the good news on the new vehicles. The PowerPoint slides in front of you demonstrated our new fundraising initiative where we focused on recruiting sustainable donors. After 1 year, we introduced WDSRA to 137 new individuals and connected many of them in some way to WDSRA, whether it be volunteerism or hiring their sons or daughters, which is very important, or even more important was forming the Partners and Possibility Society. And we had 17 people join us and become sustainable donors. And what I mean by sustainable is a $1,000 pledge for 5 years. So excited about that opportunity and want to certainly embellish that. Now to this past year, WDSRA was blessed to sneak in our bash, our signature event last March, a year ago, before we entered phase 1 on March 21st and were told to shelter at home. Just 2 weeks before, we filled the Abington Ballroom with 310 guests who heard our stories and oftentimes are encouraged to slip on the shoes of our family members who sometimes struggle and oftentimes feel blessed for having a special needs loved one in their homes. The event was a rousing success, and we raised $120,000 net. So that's a great day. But as you know, the fundraising effort is to get sustainable donors, and that's our new goal. Just last week, we reimagined our 2021 bash and held a 5-week fundraising campaign and half virtual, half live celebration. And it was a rousing success, raising $85,000. net. So that's a great effort, and kudos to the staff for their ongoing efforts. You know, it's been quite an eventful year, and WDSRA has excelled at serving our families and delivering virtual as well as in-person programs when allowed. A majority of our families are fully embracing virtual programs, and we have delivered more programming using shorter seasons so that we could learn as we go and continue to increase our choices, which resulted in keeping our participants engaged, interested, and socially connected. Staff have dug deep and shared their creative talents and expertise as they delivered unique and engaging programs, and our participants and their families were beyond appreciative. As one parent said, I usually just drop my son off at the program, and when I pick him up, if he comes out and has a smile on his face and gives me a thumbs up, I think, all right, he had a good night. She goes, but now I'm in the room next door, And I can hear the engagement, and I can hear him laughing, and I can hear him typing away and chatting with other staff and participants. And she said, "You guys just rock. I always knew you were good, I just didn't know how good." Well, that is a great testimony to what we do at WDSRA. So, I'd like to share a 2-minute and 21-second video, if Margie can get it to turn on. I think it's a click and we're ready to go, which shows you all about our virtual programming. Over 4 seasons, staff planned and conducted 284 programs offered with 4,443 enrollments. Word got out and lots of people joined us. We hope you enjoy it. There should be some sound, and you sure don't want me to sing.
Yes, we do.
You might need to cue that sound up.
It's a YouTube video, so I'm not quite sure at times why the sound doesn't work. We've been pretty successful at most of my visits, but that's okay. You still get the idea. So we did a lot of baking classes. Well, that just gives you a feel, just a little feel. The best part was the parade. Our staff were longing to see the participants, and phone calls just weren't cutting it. And so they decided to put together the parade, not recognizing it would actually be a reverse parade where they would make signs and tell us how much they missed us. So that was really a real lift for our staff. At the same time, the one Special Olympic athlete who hung all of his Special Olympic medals on the bush outside his garage, that just says it all. You know, a big discussion was held by our development team about the appropriateness of reaching out for donations during this time. Of uncertainty, while people were losing their jobs, there were food insecurities on the rise, and certainly individuals getting sick, and even some of us losing loved ones. We leaned on development's best practices that said, no, actually, this is the perfect time to provide an opportunity for those who have the means to give and are looking to do something positive when the world is so negative. So we launched our COVID appeal and advertised the possibility of a match from the Coleman Foundation. Our marketing manager planned a marketing masterpiece, and we received over $62,000, in addition to what I've already reported to you today. Now, why do I talk so much about fundraising? Well, it's been a huge effort this year for us, and every dollar we raise means less dollars coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. And so when we can fundraise and be successful, that really benefits and enhances our programming. Thanks to the generosity of our donors and our member district shares, we continue to transform lives in very uncertain times. We also received our 14th GFOA award for outstanding financial practices. And when you do as much fundraising as we do and as the Wheaton Park District does, you know how important that is for donors to know that. Recognizing the continued need for assistance, scholarships were given. In fact, 586 were given and were awarded to 112 individuals. No one was turned away. On another positive note, I'm pleased to tell you that Senator Laura Ellman of the 21st District included WDSRA in the capital bill, and we received over $142,000 for some projects that we'd like to do at the office. It includes updating our restrooms, making them gender neutral, putting in a patio outside our west entrance, which can be used by our rec and roll participants during the day, as well as our social clubs can gather there. We also are going to add some LED lighting to the parking lot, which will enhance our security, and then replacing some of those random tables that are still there, Jane, after all these years, holding copiers, et cetera, and putting in some cabinetry. Even though many of the staff are working remotely and continue to do that because they've got kids at home and haven't gone back to school, we continued to work and relaunched our goal work and continue to focus on a few things that I think you'll find interesting. Creating a business plan so that we can remain fiscally sound as we comply with the minimum wage bill. I think all of you know that the minimum wage bill will impact all of us, and certainly the special recreation associations, because that's what we are. We are staff. That's what makes us successful. We're also working with a company to design a workforce and scheduling system that will improve our applicant process. You know, we need a lot of staff to work out there to help with inclusion programs as well as our own programs. And we were noticing that people were starting the application process and then stopping it. And that is not a good thing when you're looking for staff. And so with this new system, which is called Gray Peak, we've had the opportunity to design a program that really fits our needs. And what we're seeing and having the ability to do is once the application is submitted and staff review it, they can set up an interview with a text message, which is the going way to communicate, as most of you know. And within 10 minutes, we'll have that scheduled. So that is streamlining everything, and we think we'll have more people walking in the door and perhaps hiring even more quality people than already. We're also looking to create a development plan for staff and designing a culture plan so that we can work to become the employer of choice. I am certain you have lots of business to handle tonight, and we all know it's St. Patty's Day, so you're probably looking forward to getting out of a meeting. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank you, and thank you for letting me provide the update. I also want to thank you for your support over the 10 years. I have announced my retirement effective this June of 2021. And as I anticipated, WD was an amazing place to end my career. Almost 44 years serving residents who have special needs at 3 special recreation associations. Thank you for being so supportive as a Board of Commissioners and for hiring such talented Park District directors. The Board of Directors is a very educated group, forward-thinking, and a board who trusts us to do our job. When you have trust, you can soar, and that is what I believe WDSRA does every day. Thank you so much for your time, your commitment to Parks and Recreation Illinois and Wheaton, as well as certainly to Special Recreation. Are there any questions that I could answer for you?
Jane?
Yeah, I have a couple questions, Sandy. I wondered if we have a rec and roll program here in Wheaton through the CAC. Has that been functioning okay during
Yes.
the pandemic? Because
Yes.
I see the ones at Carroll Stream, and I know they're still going on. I see the kids being dropped off in the morning, but I'm not in downtown Wheaton, so I just wondered how
Yeah,
that was
not
going.
all sites are up and running, but our 6-to-1 sites are, and then we're running a shuttle between Naperville to bring folks up to the 3-to-1 site, which is at Fountain View. So that's
Okay,
what you're seeing there.
Great.
And that's because we just didn't have enough 3-to-1s that could keep their masks on and comply to the things that were important to keeping both them and us safe.
And for people who don't know, the Rec and Roll programs are day programs for adults who have kind of aged out of school facilities and other types of treatment programs.
Right. When you guys changed the locker room to a beautiful multipurpose room at Central Athletics, it was an opportunity for us to offer a very more centrally located rec and roll, and so that was ideal, as well as being downtown gives us the opportunity to walk to places. And we all know we can benefit from walking. Our participants certainly can do that as well. And we can go to the stores and the restaurants when life gets a little bit back to normal. So this has been the ideal community and place to be able to run a rec and roll program. There are 6 sites, though, and we serve 151, I believe, different individuals, and they can sign up for 1 to 5 days, and it's 50 weeks out of the year. So these are folks that oftentimes don't have a job, or if they do, it's 2 days a week. And so the other days, they need something to do. And this is structured, fun, outdoor community programming as much as we can. They're struggling a little bit now to do anything outside, but we're bringing in some great projects as well.
Sandy, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Sandy, last time you and I talked, you were still trying to line up some way of having the WDSRA employees be considered essential staff in
Yeah.
one of the tiers. How is that process?
Yeah, I thought I'd go out with that big challenge on my shoulders. It was frustrating to me, to be honest with you, that we couldn't get a group vaccination for our staff, especially when we're back face-to-face programming. And we want to keep certainly that elevated level of care that we're so responsible for. We want to be safe and have our participants be safe. So most recently, and it changes every day, we've had many park districts who have offered us the opportunity, including Wheaton the other day, who took 10 of our staff and got them vaccinated for us through a collaborative with the school district. We are very appreciative. We've got one planned, we think, Mike, April 1st. And we're going to try and help all of the 9 park districts for anyone who falls in the 1B category. And we'll hear probably in 2 days that they have the vaccine and it's a go, but we're doing all the homework now. We've also been offered the opportunity, if you scream enough, people come and help. And I think we were trying to do our best to advocate. We have the opportunity, and we're asked if we would like to offer a drive for just people with disabilities, and possibly one caregiver that might bring them. And so we're in the works right now of putting that together. We reached 450 families, and so far about 200 between caregivers and participants have signed up. I anticipate we'll have more, and I sure hope we do. And that will be outside of our 9 districts. But, at this point, I think people are willing to drive to get vaccinated. So we'd like it to be the safest environment we can, and that's what we're working towards.
And I really congratulate you because I've seen our buses and our vans going around, and many of them need an update. So
they?
I'm glad that's going on. The last thing, I wanted to thank you, Sandy, for your 10 years of service to WDSRA, and wish you very good luck in your retirement program and whatever that's going to lead you to. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
WD was left in great hands, and when I walked in the door, I had a great agency to just take forward. And I'm hoping that I can leave it that way for the next executive director. So on behalf of myself, thank you, Jane, for giving me that opportunity to walk out the door and come into an agency that was fiscally sound, because that allows you to do so many more things. And it was quite a breath of fresh air coming here. So thank you so much.
Anyone else for Sandy?
I just
Ray?
want to say thank you, Sandy, for your years of service with WDSRA. And from personal experience, I can guarantee you'll enjoy your retirement.
I feel like I aged about 5 years in this past year, so I am looking forward to just not thinking about COVID for a little while and making decisions. So I'm excited about the opportunity to live on the water and have some fun doing that. So maybe recreating myself. Wouldn't that be a great idea?
Anyone else for Sandy?
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank
Sandy,
you again.
I echo those sentiments.
work.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
long-term commitment to WDSRA and the community service in general. You've been great, so enjoy your time off, but you're not leaving yet. You got another few months to go.
Yes, I do. June 11th.
All right. Thanks for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
All right. We've come to the community input portion of our agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board tonight? Yes, sir? Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you. Ron Almiron, 455 West Front Street in Wheaton. Commissioners, Secretary Bernard, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. And happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I just want to touch upon real quick about the swimming pool fees and the reservations. I'm not sure how this was determined, whether this has been via staff input, and I don't know whether the park board is going to be discussing this, but I'd like to give you some of my thoughts. I see that there's a $5 charge for each resident. Maybe possibly a children's fee and a senior's fee could be lowered a little bit, maybe to $4. Also, what I've been hearing from your constituents that I've talked to is they're very concerned about the lack of pool passes. Now, I don't know whether the park board is not allowing this anymore. I do know from talking to a member of the staff over at the community center that per the governor's orders, out of 2,000 capacity over at Rice Pool, for example, only 500 could be on the premises at one time. And similarly, at Northside Pool, out of 1,000 capacity, only 250 can be there. And so the question is, how are you going to be able to keep track of everybody that wants to use the pool? And I know that we live in the Chicago area, which means our summers are short, so we want to enjoy as much as possible. But I'm particularly concerned about the value of the park district's pools to the residents. And think about families of 5, please, for example. I mean, this could be very expensive if they're not able to enjoy the value of a pool pass. So, yeah, I urge, I don't know if it's too late to table the final park board vote to next month so that the staff can allow more input from the community as to pool passes and reservations. My suggestions are tiered reservations, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3, up to 3.5, and maybe treat it like a restaurant reservation system where each user has a colored bracelet, like noon, yellow, 2 o'clock, blue, 3 o'clock, pink, something. But my thought would be to maximize the enjoyment of the pools for everyone. So if that's something that the park board can consider, I would really appreciate it. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Elmer. And at least I want to address, at least your comment regarding, what is on our agenda for tonight's consideration. And that is that this whole issue right now is a work in progress. It's actually a moving target. So what we may or may not do tonight does not preclude us from doing anything, changing it in the future, depending upon, what protocols, we get from the state of Illinois. So, that could change tomorrow. And so, again, nothing precludes us from making a change in, what our direction is at this point in time. So we believe we have a plan that's viable, at least under the current conditions. It'll be up to the board to, either approve or not approve that, but we have to give our staff some direction to move in a direction, and the staff, of course, will have to change direction if, in fact, the state's protocol changes for us. So it's a work in progress. Thank you for your time. Any other board members? Mike? All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the audience? All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda, I'm sorry. Before I read the consent agenda into the record and ask for a motion, do any of the commissioners wish to remove any of the items A through G? Hearing nothing?
Well, Terry,
Yes,
I just
sir.
have a question. So the minutes that were approving, we got another set that had some changes.
Yes,
So
sir.
are you reading in the set of minutes with the change
Yes.
as changed? Okay.
With the revised set of minutes. Anybody have any questions about those? Anybody wish to remove anything? All right. I'll look for a motion to approve consent agenda items A through G. A, approval of the disbursements totaling $295,170.49 for the period beginning February 10, 2021 and ending March 9, 2021. B, approval of the disbursements totaling $262,763.92 for the period beginning February 10, 2021 and ending March 9, 2021. C, approval of the February 10, 2021 subcommittee meeting minutes. D, approval of the February 17, 2021 revised board meeting minutes. E, approval of the March 3, 2021 subcommittee meeting minutes. F, approval of Athletic and Recreation Department independent contractor relationships resulting in expenses over $10,000. And finally, G, approval of the amendments to cafeteria plans for flexible spending and dependent care accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, who was the first?
It was Kelly.
Kelly?
No, it was Kevin.
Did I get you?
I didn't say anything.
That was Jane. That was Jane.
We'll give it to Mr. Leahy or the voice of
I've never been assumed,
It's hard to hear with these things.
yeah, I've never been mistaken
Second by
that
Fry.
way.
Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mike?
Commissioner Vyers?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrill?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkinson?
Yes,
Commissioner Fry?
Yes.
Commissioner Fahey?
Yes.
President Me?
Yes. We have no unfinished business. Moving on to new business, item number 1. I would seek a motion to approve a contract for the President's Park Playground Project.
I'll move for the approval of the contract with Cunningham Recreation for the purchase of playground equipment for President's Park in the amount of $83,998.76.
Second.
Who was that second?
Fires.
Byers? We have a motion by Fry and a second by Byers. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the board?
And Mike, that's the equipment cost only, right?
That's correct.
And we haven't decided whether we're doing the install yet or we have an
We're out to bid
alternate?
right now for the installation phase, and we will be able to determine together whether or not the price comes in a way that warrants contracting it out versus handling it in-house.
Anything else? Mike?
Commissioner Morrill?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkinson?
yes,
Commissioner Fry?
Yes.
Commissioner Fahey?
Yes.
Commissioner Vyers?
Yes.
President Me?
Yes. Moving on to new business, item number 2. Need a motion to accept the base bid for the Central Park Pickleball Courts project.
I'd like to move to approve the base bid of $70,000 from Chicagoland Paving, plus a 10% contingency for a total potential expense of $77,000 for the development of pickleball courts at Central Park.
Second.
We've got a motion by Hodgkinson and a second by Fahey. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the board?
I think that we should understand that this is a way for us to really be moving pickleball court opportunities all around the city and the Park District, and I like that idea.
Well said, Jane. John?
No, that's basically what I was going to say, was that this is supply and demand, right? We want to
Yep.
make sure there's plenty of demand for pickleball.
Plenty of demand, and it will increase. You'll probably hear from us again on this subject in the
Seemingly
future.
more so for tennis these days than pickleball, or vice versa, I should say.
Yeah, and the location is excellent. Excellent. Plenty of parking. We have lights,
Yes, sir.
fences, high
Visibility.
visibility. It's, I'm excited for this. And that's 6 courts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so,
Well done.
Yep,
Well done, staff,
excited.
too. Any other comments or questions? Mike?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fahey,
yes.
Commissioner Vyers.
Yes.
Commissioner Morrell.
Yes.
President Me.
Yes. Moving on to new business, item number 3, need a motion to accept the bid for tent purchases for park services and the Arrowhead Golf Club.
I'll move to accept the base bid of $50,424 and alternate number 1 for $5,940 from Big Tent Events for a total expense of $56,364 for the purchase of tents and barrels for park services and Arrowhead Golf Club. I did that with one breath. I
You
swear.
did good, Bob. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Fry and a second by Kelly. And I've got a question. Rob, the barrels are just for stabilization, right?
Yeah, that's what's used instead of the stakes. at
Gotcha.
Each post.
Gotcha.
This is a total of 5 tents, correct?
That's correct.
And Terry, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't, we're not going to do flooring on the one at Arrowhead again, right?
That's not included in this bid. I'm not
Right.
sure. if-
Okay, so in light of what's going on, I just want to make sure we don't do any flooring till we,
No, sir.
okay.
And these tents are going to serve multiple purposes, so I think it's a good investment. Anyone else? Mike?
Commissioner Hodgkinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fry. Commissioner Fahey.
Yes.
Commissioner Vyers. Commissioner Morrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
President Me.
Yes. Moving on to new business, item number 4. Need a motion to approve the Northside and Rice Pool fees for our upcoming year in compliance with the current Illinois Phase 4 pool operation guidelines.
So I'll move to approve the 2021 Northside and Rice Pool fees in 2-hour increments with the reservations. And we have residents, adults, children's, and seniors at $5, and non-residents, adults, children, and seniors for $10. Should a full-day pool pass without capacity limits be restored by the state of Illinois and DuPage County during the 2021 pool season, the 2020 board-approved daily pool fees will resume.
Second.
We've got a motion by Fahey and a second by Fry. Any comments, questions, or concerns? John?
Yeah, so the only thing I'd like to, I'm fine with this in the interim, like we talked about at our meeting, you know, under the guidelines we're operating under now. I would like to stipulate that if the guidelines are released earlier than we expect, and we can go back to the daily rates you said, that we also look at a pool pass option, like we talked about at the meeting, and maybe even have some, you know, retro, if somebody paid, you know, twice to come, maybe that can come off their pool pass price, you know. But I don't see us being able to go to pool passes until we can open at full capacity. Otherwise, you know, not enough people will be able to use the pool.
Yeah, you know, well said, John, and I think our staff is prepared to, you know, move quickly, you know, certainly with our approval, if, you know, these, as I mentioned earlier, if the guidelines change. And, you know, I think that, you know, we have the opportunity, and we certainly have the staff to be creative, you know, if we're allowed that you know.
And the only other thing I wanted to say was that, you know, based kind of on what Ron said, I don't want anybody out there thinking pool passes are going away from the Wheaton Park District.
Nope.
We will always sell pool passes. It's just there's no way to do pool passes under these guidelines. But as soon as these change, then, you know, we'll be the first people to offer pool passes again. But it just won't work right now at the reduced capacities of the
Yeah,
pool.
pool passes would not be economical for anyone to purchase at this point in time, so there's no purpose in our offering those as an option. But I think we can move quickly, you know, if we're allowed to do so at some point in time.
Did you want to add anything, Mike?
No, I think that those comments are all dead on.
Jane?
And that there was such a lengthy discussion about this issue that this was not something that was reached very easily to begin with. So I think we've looked at all the issues and all the opportunities that we have for this at this particular time, but are still maintaining the flexibility we need should guidelines change.
Anyone else? Mike?
Commissioner Fry.
Yes.
Commissioner Fahey.
Yes.
Commissioner Vyers.
Yes.
Commissioner Morrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Hodgkinson.
Yes.
President Me.
Yes. That concludes our new business. We have come to the reports from staff portion. Thank you, all you staff members, for showing up tonight. We appreciate that. You're all going to give speeches, right? Good. And Margie, I want to thank you for getting out the message about Arrowhead opening for golf as of Friday. Very timely, and there are other golf courses opening in the area, but, you know, from what I can see, we probably are first in line. So thanks for getting that out. The first bullet point is the 2020 annual report under special events.
We have staff here for the first time in 13 months. Should there be any questions regarding either of the annual reports today? So we have no formal presentation regarding these reports, but we have staff here to connect with the board after this long time related to these activities.
Any board member comments to start, Bob?
I just want to comment on the Arrowhead report. It's an excellent report, by the way, very informative. And I do want to thank you guys, whoever came up with the Holly Jolly Trolley idea. That was fantastic.
Are you skipping?
Is that good? It's every person for himself or herself.
It's a free-for-all.
This is an excellent report. The Holly Jolly Trolley was an excellent idea. Saw it, went there a couple times with the families out there with the fire pits. It was fantastic. The kids running around. It was great.
If I may, he's not going to toot his own horn, but that Holly Jolly Trolley was the brainstorm of none other than Andy Bendy.
Good job, Andy.
Nicely done, man.
The only thing that there is a picture here that I want to acknowledge of someone chipping in the middle of the clubhouse. Bruce, was that you? That's okay. No, excellent report. Well done. And a good job last year under the circumstances.
Thank
What
you.
else, Bob?
Good.
Anyone else?
Just that both reports were excellent, the special event report and the Arrowhead Golf Course report. I mean, they're classy. So thank you.
Ray, you can't get away with just that.
Okay, you want, I would, if we're
John?
talking about staff reports.
Commissioner Byers was waiting for you to go.
Oh, John, wait. I just, I've always known that Cosley Zoo does this, but I'm not sure the community actually knows that when we have extreme weather conditions, staff stay at the zoo overnight to take care of the animals and to be there in case there's an emergency. And I think that's important for the community to know that they have that kind of dedication and commitment, because if you've ever had to sit around, and I've done it a few times in my experiences, sit around in a park facility overnight, it's pretty boring. But congratulations to them, and they did it, I think, 3 times this past winter, and so kudos to them. That's all I had.
Did it when we put the chiller in.
Commissioner Byers?
I have a finance-related question. Is this the time to do that, or is this
Have at it.
shoot?
Have at it.
It's a free-for-all.
Started it, might as well.
I have and I just want to ask Mike a couple questions. Mike, I'm going to go back to 2020 finances, if you'll humor me for a moment here. First of all, can you tell me right now roughly what we have in reserves, what you would call rainy day fund, capital, and other reserves, how much we've got?
All in about $18 million.
Around $18 million. Last year was a challenging year from a revenue standpoint. Can you tell me, did we lose money as a park district? Did we have to tap into reserves in order to meet our expenses?
No, sir, not one penny.
Can you explain how we were able to do that? Our revenue is down substantially, and
Certainly. Our gross revenue, 50% of the park district's overall income essentially comes from fees and charges from across all of our services. The other 50% comes from interest income, to a small degree, donations and sponsorships, and primarily property taxes. our gross revenue, our earned income in 2020 was down in the vicinity of $8 million gross. However, after significant work by this park board, as well as by this leadership team of staff, expenses were cut in such a way and managed, this operation was managed to counter that loss of gross revenue in such a way that across all funds put together, the Park District actually finished in the black to the tune of about $400,000, which was actually fairly similar to the previous year's all-in experience pre-COVID in 2019. So we did not dip into reserves one penny in 2020. Two individual departments went slightly into the red, both the zoo and Arrowhead. The zoo more than made up for that little piece of red ink with the donations that were facilitated through the work of the Cosley Foundation and the Cosley staff. And then Arrowhead's very slight food and beverage deficit was more than made up by the revenue over expense from other funds. So all in all, the Park District finished in the black in 2020. There was no use of fund reserves.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Anyone else in that regard? Thank you, John. Commissioner Kelly?
So I just want to give the board a heads up. Now that the weather's getting nicer, you're going to go to have dinner on our patio at Arrowhead, and you're going to notice that we have a problem with the concrete surfacing. A lot of freeze thaw this year. It might have been caused by the fact that it was covered up for a while and got wet. We're going to be doing an emergency repair where we're going to be either skim coating it or grinding it smooth just to get through this year. And then we will be bringing you a project towards the middle of summer for what we have to do to the patio. We're finding on the original drawings, they don't show a waterproofing membrane on top of the Flexichlor slab. So we have some damage to the drywall underneath. We don't know if the drawings, it was just omitted on the drawings and we really have a membrane that's in need of repair, or, but we're probably gonna have to take that top slab off at the end of this year and put down a waterproofing membrane and then either re-pour or put some removable pavers. So when you go to Arrowhead and you see the damage, don't call Mike. The repairs are underway. We're going to do a sample end of this week, first part of next. But this kind of all came up in the last 2 weeks when the weather started getting better. So you will get a major project at the end of summer, and you're going to see some minor work going on there now to make it presentable for the next 6 to 8 months.
Thanks, John.
So this should last about a year then, Rob? Or
Well, the skim coat will go on until we close the patio, and then the new project will be designed to be able to be built in the winter so that the patio's ready to go when we open in the spring.
awesome.
Okay?
Thank you.
Commissioner Hodgkinson?
Well, whoever really noticed that and brought that to your attention, Rob's attention, I appreciate that because.
Neil carrying the buckets of
Was it-
gravel
or
off
was
the
it-
patio.
And,
As it deteriorated.
and Neil, you're one of the guys that I want to mention tonight because I'm going off the board. I only have a couple more months to serve on the board. And I don't think I've ever appreciated somebody's talent as yours and what you've done for us at Arrowhead because, from the stories about the freezers and things that you pick up and the things that you reshape and fashion and so forth. You're one of the people on the staff of many who do just play such a valuable role, and I don't know how many people really recognize that. Also, I wanted to comment while Sandy was here. Is she still here? Yeah. While Sandy was still here, that I had an opportunity to see a lot of parents over the course of this past year and how valuable they found the Zoom programs and how much they appreciated those. So again, if you could let the staff know that the parents have related to me that it has been like the lifeline for a lot of those families. I also wanted to comment, the marketing, this brochure always just blows us away in terms of how beautiful it is, how how widespread the functions are that Arrowhead carries on, how many different ways people are using Arrowhead besides just playing golf. And so my compliments to everybody, and particularly to the marketing staff and the special events staff who keep us informed about all of these events. And over a course of a year where we had to cancel so many of those special events, you guys have not only shown us how much we miss you and love those special events during the course of the year, but are really looking forward again to those events coming about. And for the golf staff that were still able to carry out golf last summer, that was for many of us the highlight of our weeks, because we could see other human beings, and that was always something that we really looked forward to. So I wanted to thank you all for that. And I think I just want to again say, and I'll probably say this at each of these meetings, what an extraordinary group of people who work and donate and support and volunteer for the Wheaton Park District. It's really been a joy.
Thanks, Jane. Commissioner Fry?
No, I'm good.
No, I said Fry. Oh, I mean, we already did you. You were the first one to start the free-for-all.
That's right.
Go ahead. Kevin.
Yeah, that was really kind, Jane, your last comment. And you will be missed up here on the board. We still have a couple board meetings, though, right, before you leave? Yeah.
You can't leave yet.
Not yet. I'd just like to say these two reports are they're great reports, very informative, and this Arrowhead one is really something special, and it's coffee table worthy. So those at home, if you'd like to get one, let Mike know, or Margie. It's really very informative too, as Jane, you mentioned. So great job, marketing staff. And then just a comment for Margie. Your email, that staff email, that communication email is phenomenal. And I sent you a reply. Really, I printed it out, and it was 13 pages. So, but it was just, it was really nice because it was like a whole umbrella, and I was able to understand a little bit more of the inner workings with what's happening in each department and with the employees. So it's really, really good email. So, and thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Kevin. I don't want to disappoint the board and not have any comments, so I will start with the special events annual report, and I thank you. You know, that executive summary page says it all. I mean, it says basically that we did the best that we could do, you know, under the COVID conditions, you know, for the year, and I don't know how we could say it any better. And then I did appreciate the page looking towards 2021, you know, to kind of give us a blueprint of what we may see, with the idea that, you know, we're not done yet, and if things change, you know, I think that, you know, we'll be able to punt and bring back some things. Some things we won't be able to because it takes a lot of, you know, months of planning. But, you know, I think that, I know that Mike and you are creative enough to make it happen if we can. I didn't want to neglect to thank our former Human Resource Manager, Diane Hirschberg, for her 14 years of service. She recently left us, and we have a new person on board, and is it Matt J?
Yes.
Is that his name? Matt J? So looking forward to working with him. But thank you, Diane. You know, hopefully somebody sees her and lets her know that the board appreciates it. And certainly, you know, we couldn't have done it without her. You know, we talked about revenue, and you know, one thing that held us up with at Arrowhead, of course, is our golf. Mother Nature was kind, and you know, we didn't close till December 23rd. That's almost unheard of in the Midwest. And as a matter of fact, I played on that last day, as I like to play on the first and the last day. So, you know, once again, and I want to thank the golf staff too, you know, for getting us ready in 2 days now to start golfing. So appreciate that. Justin, you going to be ready for us? Cool. How long are we going to be on the cart pass? I don't know yet. Okay. All right. I thought I put you on the spot and you'd say, hey, we're going to be off, but it's going to be really wet out there. Regarding the Arrowhead annual report, that photo page, that was perfect. Hopefully the public can take a look at that and get a sense of, who you are and what you do. And Jane's right, Neil, we couldn't do it without you, buddy. So you can't leave either.
Ever.
I was noticing in that Arrowhead report that we had about the same number of resident versus non-resident golf rounds played, in 2020. I think that says a lot for us. I think that shows that, people appreciate what we do and appreciate our golf course. So, and I'll kind of wrap it with, we were able to maintain the ice at the CAC, through February 25th. That's not bad, but, it's Mother Nature help, but, we couldn't have done it without auto maintenance, so I appreciate that. Rob, I had a question for you, though. One of the, parts of your report referred to the Cosley parking lot, conceptual plans and so forth, and working with the city. Can you give us a clue as to where that's at right now?
Sure. So we have conceptual plans that will be going to the Cosley Foundation next week, and then we will bring those to you at the April subcommittee meeting.
Has the city decided whether or not they're going to approve any type of walkway or anything like that? They were going to do a study, weren't they, on Gary Avenue?
So, I don't know, Mike, if you want to help out, feel free, but the city, their plans for Gary Avenue have a new light at Prairie, and there's a crosswalk at that section. We had some studies as well that looked at an overpass, an underpass, and an at-grade crossing, more in line with the existing entrance to Cosley. And there are some significant challenges with that, which we're certainly going to share with you in the full report.
Thanks, Rob. And lastly, just Cosley Zoo mentioned, and what we're talking about revenue again, but, our increased revenue trend, for Cosley in 2021 over that of 2020 continued in February, as did the donations for the month. So, obviously, we're doing something right with Cosley, and it's continued to be popular. So, thank you, Mike and staff, for keeping us afloat.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
I have a question for Mike. Mike, you and I had talked about the possibility of trying to get something set up for seniors to be able to get vaccinations. Is there any progress in that area?
As a matter of fact, and we did not plan this, as a matter of fact, some significant progress has been made. I've been working hard, reaching out to local pharmacies to see. We have the facilities, we have the parking, we have the staff resources to be able to assist in communicating and helping people find vaccines. So we've articulated that to pharmacies locally. So far, nothing with pharmacies has stuck as it has in some other communities. I have been acknowledged by the regional offices of the pharmacies and thanked for offering, but not so far. We're waiting and seeing. I have, however, been in some dialogue over the last 2 weeks with a home health care program that has the appropriate licensing and wishes to begin across many of the suburbs of running vaccine clinics. And I have, with staff's help, identified 2 facilities and 2 days a week where we could provide such a clinic in partnership with this home health services or a service like that type of operation. I should know more by either Friday or Monday on whether or not the home health care institution that I've been negotiating with will receive vaccines during this next period from DuPage County, and if they do, I've teed up a simple license agreement with the appropriate coverages related to using our facility for such a purpose to be ready to execute on short notice if we are notified that vaccines were distributed to this group. So it's looking good. We're hopeful that if it works out, whether in the next 2 weeks or in the next 4 weeks, as we continue to run through this 1B and 1B plus, and then we'll move into 1C, that the Wheaton Park District stands ready to assist in getting not only senior citizens who right now, there's still many, many in our community and countywide who need a vaccine if they want one. And then we get into the 1C groups and everyone else. So this is, it's going to go on for a while. So even if we don't get started until April, I still envision that the Park District could play a significant role in vaccine rollout going forward into the summer.
Good work, Mike.
Again, I know that I probably won't be on the board when all of this is happening, but since this is the 100th anniversary of the Wheaton Park District, I think it would be a significant gift to the community in recognition of that, to be able to have the Park District play a role in the.
I'm very hopeful and optimistic that in the month of April, we could be having a vaccine clinic at a Park District facility or two.
That's great.
Beautiful.
Anyone else? I'm not going to let you get away just yet. I have one final comment, and this is recognition for our staff and Mike, of course, but regarding Arrowhead, the Golfer's Choice entity rated Arrowhead as number 17, in the top 50 U.S. public golf courses survey. And in addition to that, they identified our off-course amenities at Arrowhead as number 5 in the top 25. That's pretty significant. Then, of course, we have a Chicago Golf Report that pertains to public course clubhouses, and they rate us as number 3. So that's pretty significant stuff. So that's all owing to the staff. Keep up the great work. We have no reason for a closed session tonight. Mike, anything else from you?
No, sir.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Happy St.
Happy St.
Patrick's
Patrick's
Day.
Day.
Yes,
So
by all means. We got a motion from Fahey
Second.
and a second by Byers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all, and thank you everyone for attending. Thanks staff for being patient with us.